Monica Church. Excuse me, Representative Church.
We're back.
We're back. Hey, when you come in here out of the session, do I still have to call you Representative or can I just call you Monica?
You can always just call me Monica. But I do have a bone to pick with you.
Go.
I think this is our 4th.
You are the most frequented guest in the Idaho legislature.
But I listened to you tell Jordan Redmond and Ilana Rubel that they were the most, they'd been on, the most frequented guests at their 3 status.
And you have absolutely obliterated them.
Yeah.
Well done.
This could be my 30th time.
I actually have a paper plate award for you.
Oh. Can I tell you a story about paper plates?
Yes, please.
So in 6th grade, my 6th grade teacher, she ended up having to leave on a medical reason. Very sad.
Oh, I just said great. That's not great. I'm sorry.
Terrible. It was terrible. I think she ended up being fine. I don't really remember. What I do remember is that we got this substitute teacher, and she was had been a counselor, and she put on all of our desks these paper plates, and every paper plate had a different word. I am a very special person. And every time we acted inappropriately or were talking, or she would take away a plate. So you ended up with I am a, it was traumatic. It was a very traumatic experience. And
you exist. That's all you get.
Yeah. You no longer are a very special person. You are, I am a very, and then insert word. I mean, it was traumatic. I remember it very clearly.
Yeah.
It's a core memory.
Core memory.
So I don't want any paper plates. No paper plates. Actually, we don't use them in my house.
They're wasteful. I got a paper plate award when I was a sophomore in high school. This was sophomore, junior year or something like that, from band. This is the only paper plate award I actually remember getting, and it was the our instructor, band instructor, was Steve Acatino, so Mr. Acatino, and I got the paper plate award for Mr. Acatino. It's entirely my fault. Because I guess every time something would happen, I'm like, that was my fault. They're like, you weren't even, there was a fucking saxophones. What are you talking about? You're a trumpet player. You don't even, what are you talking about? That's my paper plate award. I accepted undue responsibility for failures of groups.
I kind of like that paper plate award.
Yeah.
It's better than the I am a very special person.
Yeah. Well,
I'm the most frequented guest on the ranch. I'll take that paper plate award.
I'll give you that one. I'm 2 minds about that paper plate award. I got one that I was like, oh, you're somebody who absolutely accepts responsibility for things that are your fault and not. It's what a great person. The flip side of it is, you think the world revolves around you.
Yeah. The satire in there is not lost. But that's why
you're not that important and relevant. You could have not even existed. They still would have been rushing and got off key. It's not about you. That's Matt at 15. It's it's all about me. It's really not about you.
That's what teenagers are, though. I mean, the world gets, bigger as you get out.
That's something you said in our first episode that you made me think about that for 2 weeks. Because you were that's them. That's not this societal commentary. That's just dealing with a 15-year-old. And we're like, damn it, she had a point.
Yeah, well, that's what teenagers do. You give them this big world issue and they narrow it down to how does it relate to me specifically. And the older we get, the more our world grows, and we kind of flip at some point in time and start thinking about how does that affect our children, or broader society. But teenagers, I mean, it's just about them.
Right.
Bless their hearts.
Bless their hearts. Bless their hearts.
Mine's about to start driving, and I'm just it's a very scary idea.
Yeah.
To have that much arrogance and to also be behind the wheel.
You gotta get your kid some just boat of a vehicle. Find her an 86 Caddy. That's just
my first was a Mercury Topaz. I don't even think they make them anymore. And it was a boat.
They don't make Mercuries anymore.
No, it was a boat. And it was because my grandparents knew me well enough. They were like, we're going to get a boat. It's going to be made of steel. It's going to break down every week. because this can only go one way. And then the second one was a Honda Civic, and yeah, I miss that car.
Yeah. Did you listen to like gangster rap in the boat?
Oh, of course. I had the giant
such a white
speakers in the back. I mean, I had the rims. It was the whole thing.
Why did I want to relive those days
15
so
inch
badly?
speakers and the amp box that you and your buddies make, and the whole like, at the stoplight. I had it.
Man, I have a Pandora channel that's 90s alternative, and it throws on a bunch of ska and then a bunch of like there's a lot of Blink 182. I know I'm a loser.
No,
there's a lot of Blink 182.
Real Big
There's
Fish.
oh my gosh. And but they also put on like Bush and
Glycerin.
yeah, like it's so hard.
First crush.
Oh my gosh. I'm dying to get the stereo system I always wanted. Like, because right now I drive like a Toyota Highlander. Like, I'm such a loser.
That is true.
But like, I actually know how to make stereo boxes and have like, I know how to do fiberglass and like all the, like, I want to get an amp and I want to get two 13-inch subs in the back and I want to blow my 13-year-old's head off. Just like I want people to hear me coming down the freeway.
If they can wear flannels and their pants can be dragging in the water, then we can bring back the giant giant speaker boxes in the back of our car, and we can teach them how to make them. I'm in. I remember this hilarious story one time. So I had the Honda Civic, and I went to Whitman up in Walla Walla, and I had a radio show. We had a hip hop radio show, Hip Hop 101. And
wait, you had a hip hop radio show when you were at Whitman College?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I know. It's great. Well, anyway, so, there's a lot of stories. There's a lot of stories with that. Black Alicious came to Whitman my sophomore year. It was like the greatest show of all time. So I'm driving down the main drag in Walla Walla, and a friend calls me and says, "Were you just bumping Ani DeFranco down Main Street?" I was like, "Oh, my cred is gone." But you can bump anything.
You can bump any. I'm just so in. There's an aspect of me, like, my first car was when I was 18. And it was a car I shared with my mom, and very thankfully I would be able to drive. She would carpool with a friend to work, and I was like, "Oh, awesome! I get the car." And it was it was 86 or 88 Honda Accord, 4-door champagne color, but it was a manual. And dude, I burned that clutch out in like a month. Here it had survived my siblings.
Oh yeah.
And I get to it and I just couldn't, like, I was dying to drive. I've never been in an accident either. Like, I'm a safe driver, but I just love to drive. I really actually, so go to college. The car's so bad after, like, I only drive it for a couple months because I turn 18 and my mom's like, "All right, you can drive the car to school." And then when I leave for college, she donates it because it's shot. Like, I killed it. They're like, "You need a new clutch, you need new brakes." You're like, and so she donates it, so it's gone. And then my car after college was my dad was very kind and got me he donated to me a 97 RAV4 silver, also manual.
Manual.
The kicker was I had to drive it from Anchorage to Berkeley. And so my brother and I drove in one shot from Anchorage through Canada all the way down. It was like a 54-hour drive.
Did your brother have your demeanor?
No, he's a dick.
I don't mean is he a dick. I mean, is he got the energy level?
He's a dick. That's all you need to know about him.
Did you do most of the driving?
Well, okay. So he actually crashed it. He hit a road sign on the first night and then didn't tell me about it. And then like the whole left headlight was all like, it was terrible. Yeah. My brother's a dick. It's all right. Listen, he's just, he and I, bless his heart, bless him.
Yeah.
God, I hope he's doing well.
You don't talk?
He's a dick.
Oh, okay.
Listen, we were actually best friends for like a long time. And then, he went through a phase. I'm sure you know friends who've done this where, we were all train wrecks growing up. Okay. I have a friend right now. Still train wreck. And there's a guy I went to college with who lives in Ketchum right now. His name's Rob. I haven't spoken with Rob since I was like 21. Okay. Rob was on the rowing team with me at Cal. Rob actually was a very good rower. He was from Washington. And I was such a train wreck at 18 that I look back on that. Like, my college years are the things that keep me up at night, just thinking about how terrible a person I was. And like, I can't stop it. I can't fix it.
Bumping on you to Franco.
No, dude, it wasn't even that. I wasn't even enjoying life. It wasn't like I had my shtick and like my shtick was dumb. It was like I was a train wreck. Like my first year of college, I had no money. They end up stopping. I don't have money to pay for the dorm, so they end up killing my meal plan because they're like, I know, we'll get this guy to pay. We'll just stop his meal plan. The only reason I ate, this was terrible. The only reason I ate is because I had made friends with a lady who clocked us in at dinner, Olivia. She was this old, very kind black lady who like really liked me, and she would let me come in because she knew my meal card was stopped. I got one meal a day, and aside from that, I would eat like rice occasionally. Like, it was terrible. Like, I was a real train wreck in college. Didn't have my things together, totally got it together afterwards. But like, Rob and I knew each other through like my first half of college where I was just this absolute train wreck. And I find out recently, like, he lives in Ketchup, and I'm like, I wonder if he ever hears any of this. Cause like, it's an anxiety.
You should bring him on. Actually, I would like you to bring him on.
Okay.
I'll interview you too.
Rob Kern is definitely not coming on. But my point is that what's interesting is I think I actually have, for people that just knew me in that time frame, there's this like black mark on me that I feel bad about because I consider myself, I reflect on obviously my actions of that time, but with my current ethical and moral compass. And it's like, oh God, that was really bad. Or like, oh God, you didn't have your stuff together. It's like, yeah, I was like a really scared, misguided 18-year-old. Right. Like, that's it.
I think admitting that we are 10 different people at the same time is important. And you always know a person that has been 10 different people because they're authentic about it. Rather than just kind of having the same life. Who wants the same life for 100 years?
I would, you know what? I don't do hard drugs. I don't do any drugs. I would really like to do ayahuasca though, because I feel like it would help me just shake this. Because I have like an unbearable sense of guilt and I just feel bad. So my point is, I know my brother had a harder time in his younger years. He's exceptionally put together now, very professional, has a PhD, like very, very capable. But I think I'm like his Rob Kern. Like, I think ultimately he looks at me and sees or experiences our former life. Yeah, when we were both younger and train wrecks. So like, I give him a pass. Like, I love the guy and he's doing really, really well in life. I think I just strike a chord for him that he's just, and I understand the pain. Like, I get it. It's like, okay, I'm not going to push this with you then. Like, you don't deserve to have that pain. I hope you can let it go. And if I get your cackles up, then no sweat. Like, I'll give you the pass. We don't have to hang out. That's my feelings.
No. I love that. I'm with you. There are definitely a lot of relationships that I no longer have, either probably because I bring up those feelings or because those feelings are brought up when I'm around that person. Music does that as well. There's like certain songs or a certain genre of music that I'm just like, I just can't do that anymore because, that sense of guilt or shame or whatever it is from the past, you just don't want to bring up.
Those are rough. What's interesting is it's really just that time frame. Yeah. It's, for me, like, I was an idiot in high school. Like, fine, everybody's an idiot in high school, but dude, like the college time frame, I think the problem was that I was transitioning into a hyper proficient, like, functional society. Like, I went from Concord, which was not, like a bunch of crazy, awesome people, to Berkeley, which was where like everybody was working really hard, whether or not you agree with their social policies. Like, they're working really hard, like, or at least they were. And especially on the rowing team, these were like monsters. So I think it was when I was transitioning from being like this sloppy person to around these people that had a ferocious sense of judgment.
But that's what college or, that time in your life is really about. Yeah, sometimes I get really sad with this notion that we, shouldn't, kids should go to school knowing what they want to be. And we really need to push the trades and we really got to do this. And, no longer should kids just be going to college and like, it's such a wonderful experience to find yourself, to make mistakes, to have all of that awkwardness.
I think you still have space for that in the world, though. Like, remember Ty? Yeah. Ty was on the other day. God bless that man.
That episode, I just it killed me. I'm just crying. It's so beautiful. And you're right. Like there is space for that.
But
he had to decide for himself that he was going to make that space.
Yeah.
And I think, I mean, at least in my case, and we're the same age, that space was almost guaranteed. That you would go to college and you would have these great experiences, and it was almost like the outside world was just, outside. But we also didn't really have cell phones. We didn't have the internet in the same way.
Can I tell you a really bad cell phone story from college?
Yeah.
So I had it was a Nokia.
Oh,
okay, so Nokia and keypad on front, right? It was kind of one of those ones that was shaped like a refrigerator, right? And I had really big thighs because I was a rower. So like it's all legs and back, right? So I'd like jam this phone and get into the pocket. So I'm dating this girl and we break up and I go on this other date with this other girl because, that's what you do. You're like, whatever. So and because my dumb legs were so fat, I'm sitting at dinner with this other girl, this girl by the name of Aaliyah, and my phone like pocket dials the X. And I don't know until the next day when I look at my phone, I'm like, I didn't call Kristen. What the hell?
And she listened the whole time.
And it was like a 3-minute phone call. And I texted her, I was like, did my phone call you last night?
And by texting, you did the A, B, B, B.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I did. I actually did a password yesterday. I had to do a 10 word numerical password. And for this banking thing, I was like, I don't have a 10 number password. Like what's it? So I actually spelled out my password using the old school, what the thing I would type right on a QWERTY, I was like, okay, I got a 10 letter one and I still know how to,
I know. I wonder actually sitting here right now, I wonder if I could still do it. I'm sure I could.
Yeah. Oh yeah. STUV, right? It's like with the 4 on the 8. Yeah. I kind of
want to try it now.
I could do punctuation and stuff too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. You just knew where that bump was. Listen, as much as I want to BS with you all day, you went to a rally this weekend, which I thought was awesome. Tell me about this, because the public lands thing is, it's coming up with everyone. And it seems, I obviously had Senator Mike Crapo on, and we talked about public lands. I talked about it with Congressman Fulcher. Like everybody has been talking about it. And we have states around us that are, making steps in this direction. Huge outdoor recreators, both, trail runners and hunters and fishermen and stuff are losing their minds nationally about the idea of losing public lands. Like, what was the rally? Was it essentially just to raise awareness?
Well, I can't speak to kind of the
origin.
Yeah, the origin. Okay. Conservation Voters of Idaho, along with a lot of partners, put on that rally. I think to raise awareness. It came at a really great time.
Conservation Voters of Idaho. That's who put it on.
Yeah.
Somebody from them, like they hit me up on Instagram or something. I'll have to respond.
Well, so I heard you talking to
Oppenheimer.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Alexis Pickering. She's the executive director of Conservation Voters of Idaho. So
ACHD.
And ACHD and my aunt used to say, if you want something done, find a busy woman and it'll get done. And she's a very busy, very capable, amazing woman. So
Do you know her?
Yeah, very well.
Hook her up.
So
I've been trying to get her on the show for a while to talk about the 15th to 8th Street revision and, talk about reducing down from 4 lanes to 2 lanes, 1 lane in each direction with the center turn lane as a safer pedestrian thing. Like, this is a huge thing. And I see it now that I drive to and from the Capitol every day. I see it every day and we're like, oh,
those
this
of us
terrible.
Kids that learned to drive in Boise, that part of State Street was the scariest thing in the world, because right there by the Y, that far lane kind of bends, and you have to you feel like you're driving. In? Yeah, it's so scary, and you don't want to be over on the. I mean,
it's terrible. Help me get Alexis in here.
Okay. I will certainly ask her and share contacts. But so she reached out to me, I don't know, just a couple of weeks ago. And right now, with everything that's going on, I mostly just say yes, of course. And then I live by minute. And then it comes up and I'm like, oh, right, I said yes to that. So, I mean, I'm obviously a huge public lands advocate. Those are the 2 things I care about, education and public lands. And so I wasn't really sure what my speech was going to be about. And I actually wrote this very long speech that morning. I got up at like the crack of dawn and wrote this huge speech. And then, of course, I saw Jonathan Oppenheimer, who read it, and he was like, "This is a lecture."
I bet he did.
He's like, "You need to cut that down." So, if there's like footage of the actual rally, you can see me in the back with this like black pen, just like cutting, in order to try and, give something that maybe was a little more rally and a little less lecture. But to the point of the lecture, one of the things that I really wanted to touch on was something that Mike Crapo said, which was it's not novel. It has been said before. And I know, I don't know if you've done a little bit of research on the Sagebrush Rebellion, either the original or the one in the 80s. But the one in the 80s really brought up this constitutional point that there's nothing in the Constitution that, guarantees like public lands, and that this somehow is going to be the impetus for, federal lands being sold to states or to individuals or whoever else. And so I really wanted to get across in this messaging that they're actually, public lands are as American as what I said in the rally is the Declaration of Independence or the 13 original colonies. It was the coastal states that were very concerned after the Revolutionary War of what happens to land to the west because they can't grow anymore. Very similarly, it was the states that were not alongside the coast that were very concerned afterward about trade and the imbalances with both interstate trade, but also with international trade, because these states on the coast had access to everything that the internal ones didn't. And so, one of the issues in the Articles of Confederation being, what do you do about interstate trade? Because basically, Maryland can screw over Pennsylvania because they're the ones that get everything. So Maryland was saying, wait a minute, like we're stuck, we are locked in because we have dictated what our state looks like. What's going to happen to land to the west? And so the agreement was that land to the west, currently, owned, and we can discuss all that at a different time, by the British, will become common land, common to all of us, because we all, blood, sweat, and tears, fought for that land. So it will become common land. And that was the agreement. And then Louisiana Purchase, same thing, right? We did that over and over again. Every time the United States, through war, treaty, or through buying of land, created common land, right? Common to the people who put their time and energy into it. And that's public land. Now, what happens...
So in essence, the public land was won through the Revolutionary War.
Absolutely. It is. It's the beginning. Now, what happens is that human beings, right? We say common and for the good of all. That was the original language in the constitutional, the original convention. Common land for the good of all. And what happens is the good of all changes, right? Is it the good of all for all time or the good of all for us right now? And as industrialization and development, wars, they continue, the good of all becomes kind of the good of all right now. Right. So the good of all right now, we need to sell this land or donate this land to build a railroad. We need to, we need access in order to get to the West and to the gold, right? All these things start to become the good of all for right now. And that happened over and over and over again. And then we get all the way to the coast and it's like, oh, that's it, right? There is no more common for us. And we out here in the West are really good at looking east and saying, yeah, like we don't want that. Like we don't want to be in a place that the common land and the common good ended up being overshadowed by the time period and the need or greed for whatever it was. And that's why we protected so much of the West. And so it's really disingenuous to say that there's nothing in the Constitution that guarantees public lands, because it is the basis of the Constitution that we are going to make decisions that are best for, right, the whole.
Right.
And it takes us a long time, right? We are a learning entity as human beings. It takes us a long time sometimes to recognize even what our own values are. And so public lands, they are owned by everyone. And it's also disingenuous to say that Idaho's, the public lands inside what is the drawing of Idaho are somehow more Idaho's than they are anyone else's.
That was actually going to be my next question, which is if we really take this view of, hey, whatever public lands, federal lands in Idaho are actually federally owned, then why should Idaho get a push any more than like Virginia or Kentucky to talk about what happens to them?
Actually, Virginia paid a lot more into those Idaho public lands than Idaho did, if you base it on historically moving west.
It seems, and everything you're saying makes complete sense. It seems like the real rub is ultimately people are just mad that they're not being managed well. It's like, can't we just put our heads
then let's
together?
Talk about that.
Like manage them better, manage them more appropriately. And very thankfully, I think it's the director of this public lands or something, or the director of the Department of Interior is like an Idaho guy. You know his name. You have to know his name.
Oh, you're talking about Mike Bourne, or you're talking? Oh, that's natural resource. You're talking about Tom Schultz.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
There we go. I would love
Tom Schultz.
Tom Schultz.
Yeah.
Tom Schultz needs to come on the show. But I mean, there you have somebody who's saying, hey, look, like you need to manage this better. Now he has a shot at, hopefully helping Idaho and other states manage their federal lands better. But that's really what it comes down to. I haven't heard anything from people that say like we should own them just because, just for fun, or like they constantly say they need to be managed more appropriately, either by the federal government or let Idaho manage them.
No.
And that's it. Like, okay, great. And, I think it was Senator Crapo said, like, look, Idaho manages better than other people. Like, this is just the reality.
No, that's wrong.
No. So you feel like Idaho doesn't do a better job with management, or you feel like the process that we would have to go through would be very, very detrimental?
Both.
But, okay.
But I think you can't even actually compare them. So Idaho management of lands has a mission. Right? And that mission is very different than federal management of lands. So it's not even like apples and oranges. It's like, apples
and baseball.
Yeah, exactly. Like they're totally different, and both have good purposes.
Sure.
The Idaho management of lands is for a purpose. It's a financial purpose. It's a purpose of paying for schools. It's a purpose for energy. It's a purpose for, water rights. And I mean, there's all sorts of purposes that are very, very important and good. And the management of those lands have been well done. Totally agree. Idaho is good at managing its lands under its mission. And that is that constitutional mission to make sure that there is a fiduciary outcome that benefits Idahoans. Wonderful.
The best
Perfect.
one. The best.
The best one.
Right.
Yes.
Because you can't take a substandard. It's like, look, we have these three. This is the you're
it's
obligated to take the number one.
Yeah. The mission is very clear.
Yeah.
And that's great. Good at that. The federal mission is very, very different. And so the mission to manage federally protected lands, which are for everyone, has multi-use, is nuanced, is very different. And its mission cannot be taken by the states. The Idaho Constitution doesn't allow it. And frankly, Idaho couldn't do what the federal government is doing, because you take payment by 300 million people and narrow it down to,
right,
500,000 people, tax-paying people in the state of Idaho. And that's just crazy. That is crazy. We couldn't do that. The federally protected lands in Idaho are being paid for. And even if the management is not as good as we want it, they are being paid for by the entire country. Now, so we have a management problem. So let's talk about that. And I think Nick Fasciano put it best. Like, when I own something, or if I own land and whoever I've hired to manage it is doing a crappy job, I fire the manager, or I get them some training, some professional development. We fix that. I don't sell the land. That would be insane. So if we've got a management problem, we need to figure that out. So one of the things I brought up in the debate that we had, on the House side the other day about the Senate Joint Memorial 104 is that, it's like going from zero to hero. It's like there's a management problem. So let's tell the federal government to just gift us, this federal land, and we'll do it better. It's like, whoa. Here you've got a letter from the tribes saying, hey, we'd love to help. And as having, first right here, we'd love to collaborate with you. You do have collaborative processes like the Good Neighbor Authority, right? Have you looked at those? Have we talked about that? It's like we just decided that because there's a management problem, let's sell the land. Rather than looking at the cooperative efforts that could exist, do exist, and saying, let's try and figure this out right now, because we know fundamentally that management mission over here is for a financial purpose.
Right.
And it's great, and they're good at that. Mission over here is that common land idea that all of our blood, sweat, and tears for 250 years are wrapped up in that land. And so we want to save and protect it, in perpetuity. So let's figure it out for everyone, including the birds and
the birds.
Yeah, the birds.
Wildlands for the birds. Which tribe is offering to collaborate?
So the Shoshone and Bannock tribes both sent a letter in for that debate, saying one, that vehemently disagree with this.
Vehemently or vehemently?
I like vehemently.
God, do you say aluminium too?
Yeah, because I wasn't taught on phonics, because lobbyists lobby the entire country on this, like, let's learn by looking at pictures of words. So in order for me to be able to spell, I like to say things like epitome.
Well, you will be happy to know I had Superintendent Critchfield in here last week, and they're big into phonics. We've increased reading proficiency 8% in 2 years.
And I say good, great, and wonderful. Remember that the next time an outside lobbying group comes in and says, "Hey, how about this idea?" and we jump on that and totally ruin a generation and a half of Americans who can read but cannot spell.
Well, I would have to say that is the epitome of nearsighted.
Epitome. Vehemently. All right.
Vehemently. Aluminium.
That's how they say it in Europe.
I know. That's where I got my friends on the rowing team that were from like Ireland. They're like, we need some aluminium foil.
Yeah.
I don't think we need that.
And they say herb, not herb.
Oh, yeah. The H is not silent.
All right. So the Shoshone and Bannock tribes sent a letter stating not only they disagree with the premise of the memorial, but also call us. Like, we're here. Well, we can help. We'd love to help. If it really is a management issue and we want to make sure that water is being used in the appropriate way, and we recognize that the federal government and the Department of Interior has been reduced over the course of the last 40 years, but call us. Like, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, give us a call. Let's do this together. And I think there are many groups that are willing and able to do that. I think in this specific case, it was maybe oversight that it's, this is the best way for this group of people who see a problem and want to solve it immediately, to not recognize that there are probably a lot of different groups that would be very willing to make sure that everybody is at the table and things get taken care of. So
if you, and again, I understand the Alexis Pickering thing. Yeah, you gave me a hard pass on that. But I would also, another hard pass that you're about to give me, love to connect with the tribes and share their view. Like help people understand what their positions are. And again, very I think it's very often forgotten. It's like, no, these are sovereign nations that have a vested interest in this too.
Absolutely. And I mean, whatever I can do, Alexis.
You said the same thing about Alexis. It's fine.
I said, I will certainly share your information. Tribal authority and tribal leadership is it's very different. And I certainly will send an email or a text message. But to that point, that was one of the things that really upset me in that committee meeting over SJM 104. The first time I had heard about it, and it was about a day and a half prior to us hearing it in committee, my first question as I was reading through that, well, what do the tribes think? Because I know this state and I know that area, and I know the tribal authority that rests in that area. And that was my first question. What do the tribes think, and are they going to say anything? And so the first thing that I did was call the individual that represents the Shoshone-Bannock tribes in the state house and said, what are we doing here? And that letter had already been kind of in the works, and it was there. Now, when I asked the senator that brought that to that committee, he very blatantly said he had not considered the tribes in that entire process. And now it's already gone through the Senate, and now we're in the House. And this is the first time, the tribes have a letter and have actually, come out and said that they were against this memorial. And he said, well, I just hadn't, I had not considered it. And so I'm thinking in all of this, in writing this memorial, in going through all of the issues, in deciding 250 years on that this federally protected land should just be gifted to the states, all of this that has happened, all of these issues, the willows and the recharging and everything else that individuals had not even considered. Right? The First Nation treaty rights of the tribal communities on that specific part of Idaho, or at all, blew my mind. I mean, it blew my mind. And that upsets me. And so, yeah, we need to have a lot more conversations about our tribal partners and the communities in and around, Idaho, especially around that Camas wildlife area. Yeah. Breaks my heart.
Yeah. This is something I want to keep hitting on because I really want to understand, again, where people are coming from. Is it a temporary solution that people are seeking? Is it, the monetary compensation from harvesting more minerals? Like,
let's be clear. If for some crazy reason, federal land was gifted to the state of Idaho, which that would be a heck of a gift, it would not be temporary. That is the most permanent situation that would ever happen. And all we have to do is look east to know that to be the case.
I got you.
Okay.
What I'm saying is people are looking at this permanent solution as a fix for a temporary problem, right? And the temporal nature of the problem is obviously the management today, right? Like that's what we're dealing with, the management today. And it's like, okay, well, I dislike the management today. The management today could change tomorrow, but I'm going to emphasize this solution that will be forever.
Forever.
Right.
Why are we doing that? Don't do that.
I also don't know why people get married. Anyway, listen, Monica, Representative Church.
You said that out loud.
That was out loud. Oh my God. That we were talking last week about that couple that got together. I'm like, she's going to break his little heart.
Oh.
I can't. It's too much. I can't.
I got to see that young couple later.
Oh my God.
This weekend.
Oh,
young love. Young love.
You know what?
That's
their
what
journey.
That's what songs are made for, to make this a full circle. One of the things that I miss most about that time period, that you're driving down the street and you're like embarrassed about something that happened when you were like 21. Like, I can't believe I did that. One thing that I do miss is music hitting. Our hearts have been broken so many times, and now our hearts are spread all out. Now we've got kids, and we just don't have that anymore. Where songs, Like they wreck you.
I will
They
leave you.
wreck
I
you.
will leave you with this. The girl I broke up with in college, said girl who
Kristen?
received Kristen. We broke up, and I come downstairs one day to my RAV4 manual, and she had written the lyrics to a Coldplay song and put them underneath my windshield wipers. She was like, "This just spoke to me." And it's like, poor Kristen. It was like To the Scientist or something. That Coldplay song. Oh my gosh.
See?
I remember that. Like the gut rot in your stomach when you're just like, my heart hurts.
Right? Like songs speak to everything that's happening in your life. And now
we're just these numb, pathetic,
Yes,
middle-aged
it's-
people. I turned 20. All right, I turned 43 soon. I'm officially going to be in my mid-40s.
well, I called you middle-aged the other day and you were having none of
Dare
that.
you. Whatever.
So I actually changed my speech. Because we saw each other like on Friday and that speech was on Saturday, and I was like writing it out, and it was like young people, then like middle-aged people and old people, and I called it middle life people because you're like, wait, are we middle-aged? I was like, I think we are. I don't know. So it's now
middle-aged?
we're middle life.
We are middle-aged. This is so dark. God, I gotta do something with my life. Listen to me. Thank you for being here. The session's almost over, so we'll have to keep the church chats going.
Yeah.
Once we move out of session, then you'll just be Monica.
Right. And then we can talk about
Then we can talk
the
all kinds of
session.
nonsense. God bless it. Representative Church, I appreciate you. Come and let's do this again.
All right. Thank you.